This is America's most mysterious unsolved case. A man disappeared into thin air in Houston, Texas. His name was Chad Austin, and he was last seen on the evening of Friday, June 23, 2001. He had just left work at 8:30 p.m. after having worked a double shift. He was planning to meet up with his friends for some drinks, but he never made it. The police found his car parked in the parking lot of the bar, and all signs pointed towards the fact that he would turn up soon. There were no signs of struggle, no evidence that he was abducted, and no witnesses that saw him leave. So why did he not show up? Did his friends just misremember the time they were supposed to meet? Or was this an elaborate setup? We know from the timeline of events that Chad left his work on the evening in question, got into his truck, and drove to the bar where his friends were waiting for him. But we don't know what happened next. The mystery began when Chad's friends grew impatient waiting for him and decided to start drinking without him. One of them, Donna Ray, told the police that she drank quite a bit that night and remembered arguing with her boyfriend. The next thing she remembered was waking up in a different place. She said that when she woke up, she was outside and there were people standing around looking at pictures on their phones. They asked her if she recognized Chad, which she did. She also realized then that she didn't have her purse or her shoes, and when she called her boyfriend to ask where she had been dropped off, he told her that he had taken her home hours ago. So why do these details matter? Because all of these things add up to point to one conclusion, which is that Donna might have been drugged by someone and taken advantage of. But if that's true, why didn't she remember anything? The answer is simple. It's because she wasn't actually at the bar. Someone may have slipped drugs into her drink, which caused her to black out and miss the entire night. This is why she has very little memory of the evening. This means that Chad could have been taken away at the same time she was. Maybe he went to help Donna when he noticed that something was wrong. Or maybe he was taken away by the same person who took Donna. But there's a big problem with this theory. Witnesses say that they saw Chad at the bar. In fact, they remember distinctly seeing him order a beer from the bartender and talking to someone else at the counter. So maybe he was there the entire time and his friends are the ones who are lying about seeing him. Maybe they misremembered the time, or maybe they were too drunk to remember correctly. We'll never know for sure. But what the police do know is that someone at the bar that night was a witness to Chad's disappearance. Someone saw him leave the bar and they have suppressed the memory. Why? Was it because they were drunk and they don't want to come forward? Or was it because they were involved in Chad's disappearance and they want to protect themselves? Now, Donna Ray is adamant that she saw Chad at the bar that night, so much so that she even passed a lie detector test. The only problem is that according to the timeline, Chad would have arrived at the bar between 8:30 and 9 p.m., but Donna claims that she saw him enter the bar between 10 and 10:30 p.m. This means that he either returned to the bar after being gone, or Donna's memory is completely shot. There is a video footage of Chad arriving at the bar, but it doesn't show him entering the building. All it shows is his truck pulling up and parking in the spot where it was later found. Donna's boyfriend, Mike, supports her story. He told the police that they arrived at the bar at 10 p.m., and while he admits to drinking a lot that night, he insists that he remembers clearly seeing Chad sitting at the bar. He says that Chad was alone, and he sat there for a long time before disappearing. However, as the investigation progressed, the police discovered that Mike was not telling the truth. In fact, he had lied about several major points, including the fact that he had taken Donna home. Security footage shows that he brought her to a nightclub instead, which begs the question, how much else did he lie about? After reviewing the surveillance tapes from the bar, the police realized that Chad had indeed left the bar at 9:30 p.m. After he left, another man can be seen leaving the bar and getting into Chad's truck. The police released this footage to the public and asked for help identifying the man, but nobody came forward with any information. All we know about him is that he's 6 feet tall and weighs 200 pounds. He was wearing a white t-shirt and jeans and has short dark hair and a mustache. Investigators believe that he was the last person to see Chad alive. Another piece of evidence that the police uncovered was a taxi receipt. It was found in Chad's truck, and it showed that he paid for a taxi to take him to the bar. But this is strange because Chad drove himself to the bar. So why would he pay for a cab? It's possible that he called a cab but changed his mind when he saw his truck parked outside. Or perhaps someone paid for the cab as part of a setup. But who would do such a thing? And what were they trying to set him up for? Chad's parents, David and Kim, told the press that their son was not involved in any illegal activities. He wasn't dealing drugs, and he didn't owe anyone money. So why would someone target him? It seems that whoever did this to Chad knew him well enough to lure him into a trap, but we have no idea who that could be. And this is exactly why his disappearance remains a mystery to this day. At first, the police believed that he ran away from home, but they quickly dismissed this theory because Chad had no history of doing this, and he wasn't going through any personal issues that would have caused him to suddenly disappear. His bank account was untouched, which would have been the first place that he would have dipped into if he had run away. They also checked with his family and friends to make sure he wasn't going through a breakup or other major life change, but everything was fine. He was a successful crane operator and had a bright future ahead of him. He had no reason to abandon his job, his family, and his friends. When you look at the facts, it's clear that Chad was not the type of person who would willingly go missing. He had a lot to live for and no reason to leave his loved ones. This means that he was most likely kidnapped. But what happened to him after that? Unfortunately, we don't know. When the police searched his truck, they found his wallet, his cell phone, and his keys. Everything suggested that he had simply vanished into thin air. This led the investigators to believe that Chad was taken away in a vehicle because why would the kidnapper allow him to keep all of these things? It makes no sense unless the kidnapper was someone that Chad knew and was comfortable with. But knowing that Chad had no enemies and no known conflicts would mean that whoever kidnapped him had to have known him for a long time. As the weeks turned into months and then years, the case went from a missing persons investigation to a cold case. Sadly, this is often what happens with kidnapping cases because they're so complex and hard to solve. The police have never given up on finding Chad, though. They still hold on to hope that one day his kidnappers will be brought to justice. For now, though, the mystery remains. What do you think happened to Chad Austin? Please let me know in the comments and remember to like and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.